Good morning.
I look up straight in sun. Okay, thank you. Okay, welcome everyone. We're reading in Book 2, Canto 6, following Aswapati through the inner worlds, through the kingdoms of the greater life, meeting there the Godheads of that world, and seeing how that world and those Godheads also influence our world here. We've come to page 195 at the break. So we've seen in his travels through this world that it offers many great things, great delight, great knowledge and power, but that it's always still missing something, that it doesn't have the final secret of our existence, and Aswapati is not fully happy and content with that world. We saw also that one aspect of the world was that it would symbolize, in a way, the absolute in its various forms, but that it would not fully reveal that. There was always something missing from it. He couldn't quite grasp the significance that all these symbols were expressing in some way. So I think we'll just continue from there. Now there's a beautiful passage that I'll read on page 194, about 2/3 of the way down, that expresses something of this paradox of this life. He says, "Yet is it joy to live and to create, and joy to love and labor, though all fails, and joy to seek, though all we find deceives, and all on which we lean betrays our trust. Yet something in its depths was worth the pain. A passionate memory haunts with ecstasy's fire. Even grief has joy hidden beneath its roots, for nothing is truly vain the one has made. In our defeated hearts, God's strength survives, and victory's star still lights our desperate road. Our death is made a passage to new worlds." So let us now continue.
So he's talking about the present world again. He's talking this plane now, human plane, not the greater life.
Yeah, I think he's referring especially to our world, but he may also be referring to that world. So let's continue, Pedro. Yeah.
What is it?
At the break on 195.
Here is the gap. Here is the gap. Here stops or sinks life force. This deficit paupers the musician's skill. This want makes all the rest seem thin and bare. A half sight drowns the horizon overacts. Her depths remember what she came to do, but the mind has forgotten or the heart mistakes. In nature's endless lines is lost the God. In knowledge to sum up omniscient, in action to erect the omnipotent, to create her creator, here was her heart's conceit, to invade the cosmic scene with utter God, toiling to transform the still far absolute into an all-fulfilling epiphany, into an utterance of the ineffable. She would bring the glory here of the absolute force. Change poise into creation's rhythmic swing. Marry with a sky of calm a sea of bliss. A fire to call eternity into time. Make body's joy as vivid as the soul's. Earth she would lift to neighborhood with heaven. Labor's life to equate with the supreme, and reconcile the eternal and the abyss.
Thank you. To explain this section, let's look at what Shraddhavan has written in her book.
Can you speak slower than this Davan's part so that we can capture that? A little bit slow.
Okay.
Will help us.
So this is from volume 7 of her English of Savitri series, page 281. She says, these lines refer to what the poet was telling us at the end of the previous section, that the truest, highest bliss is missing in this greater life world. And that lack forms something like a gap, an empty space or missing link between the manifested universe and the supreme bliss. There is a point where life's force, the power of life, stops or sinks because it is unable to close or cross that gap. And the poet tells us that this lack of the supreme creativity and the supreme bliss, this deficit, paupers the magician's skill. The magician, the enchantress, is the life goddess who performs such wonderful magic and keeps us all enchanted by her endless creativity and skill. But that essential lack or deficit makes all her achievements seem ultimately worthless. A pauper is a person who has nothing, not even enough to live on. This want, this lack, this gap makes all the rest of life's marvelous and miraculous achievements seem thin and bare, of little value and ultimately unsatisfying. The vision available to the life goddess is only a half sight. She does not have a complete vision of the whole. That lack draws a limiting horizon around her acts and achievements. Although her depths remember what she came to do, Although she carries deep within herself the knowledge of exactly what she wanted to do when she entered this manifestation, when that knowledge tries to express itself through mind or heart, the mind has forgotten or the heart mistakes. This shortcoming of life affects all of us all the time. As human beings, we feel all sorts of deep longings and try to fulfill them, but discover again and again that our efforts just do not bear fruit. And this deficit or lack always remains, because in all the endless lines, the movements and forms and developments of nature, we lose the sense of the divine presence. We are not aware of it. We see the nature's lines, but not the divine presence within them. And then, further in the passage, this is what the life goddess came into this universe to do. In knowledge, she wanted to sum up omniscience, to gather together and express omniscience, all knowledge. But she does it in a divided way, by summing up, adding one figure, one kind of form of knowledge to another. Whereas omniscience sees all knowledge at once, without any borderlines or divisions. In action, she hoped to erect the omnipotent, to build up the all-powerful one. She wanted to create or recreate her own creator here in the universe. She thought that this was her mission, what she was supposed to do. This was her heart's conceit. The word conceit suggests overestimating one's own importance and capacities, setting oneself too high a goal. But I would just add here that there are some other meanings of conceit. One is a fanciful thought or idea. Or another meaning is an elaborate or strained metaphor. It seems to me that these other meanings also may kind of come into play here. Shraddhavan continues, it seems as if the life goddess wanted to invade the cosmic scene with utter God, to fill the whole universe, not only with some presence or touch of the divine, but with the entire divine existence, consciousness, and bliss of the Supreme. And I'm going to skip some parts and read some others. She wants to transform the still, far absolute, the transcendent existence in all its vast immobility, into an all-fulfilling epiphany. We have come across the word epiphany before. We could say that it is equivalent to the Indian term darshan, or the English word revelation. Skipping down, she wants to bring the glory of the Absolute's force here into the evolutionary universe. No more weakness and incapacity. No more imperfection or failure. Instead, she wants to bring all the glorious power of the Absolute here into this world of separation and limitation. She wants to change the perfect stillness of the Supreme into the vibrational movement of the universe with its rhythmic swing of creation. She wants to unite or marry the eternal calm of the higher consciousness with an unlimited ocean of bliss, the eternal dynamic delight of Ananda. The life force, this creative energy, is like a fire of aspiration in her intense wish to call eternity into time and to make the joy that we feel in the body as vivid and intense as the joy experienced by the soul. In her eagerness to lift our earth, which is so weighed down by the inertia and unconsciousness of matter, up to the skies, to neighborhood with heaven. She is laboring, making great efforts and expending a lot of energy to equate life with the Supreme and to reconcile, to bring together into harmony two things which seem to have been separated and turned into opposites: the vastness of the eternal, which is forever free and unlimited, and the vastness of the abyss, the deep, dark depths of unconsciousness and inertia.
She used the word ablutions. In the initial first two sentences, ablutions she used twice or thrice.
I'm not catching what you're saying.
Ablutions, something like that.
Ablutions?
Yeah, it's a new word.
No. No, I don't know what you might be referring to. There's no word quite like that. Yeah. There's this word pauper. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what you're referring to. Shall we continue?
Her pragmatism of the transcendent truth fills silence with the voices of the gods. But in the cry, the single voice is lost. For nature's vision climbs beyond her acts. A life of gods in heaven she sees above. A demigod emerging from an ape is all she can in our mortal element. Here the half-god, the half-titan are her peak. This greater life wavers twixt earth and sky. The poignant paradox pursues her dreams. Her hooded energy moves an ignorant world to look for a joy her own strong clasp puts off. In her embrace, it cannot turn to its source. Immense her power, endless her act's vast drive. Astray is its significance and lost. Although she carries in her secret breast the law and journeying curve of all things born, her knowledge partial seems, her purpose small. On a soil of yearning, tread her sumptuous hours.
Thank you. So her pragmatism of the transcendent truth, this pragmatism refers to her practical approach to manifesting this transcendent truth. She's able to fill the silence with the voices of the gods, but in the cry, the single voice is lost. So the ultimate, supreme voice is lost within all these other voices of the gods which she's manifesting. She's manifesting things in a multiplicity, but the unifying voice or substance, she's unable to really bring out. For nature's vision climbs beyond her acts. She's able to see more than she can effectively manifest in form. A life of gods in heaven she sees above. A demigod emerging from an ape is all she can in our mortal element. So she can see the gods in heaven above, but she can't manifest them. She can only manifest this demigod emerging from an ape. That's the best she can do in our mortal element. Here, the half-god, the half-titan are her peak. This greater life wavers twixt earth and sky. So it's caught in between the heavens and the abyss, the physical earth. And it's always in this intermediate zone. She cannot fully express the higher truths from above. It's always a compromise in a sense. Her hooded energy moves an ignorant world to look for a joy her own strong clasp puts off. In her embrace, it cannot turn to its source. Somehow, with her energy and force, she is always restraining the absolute reach of the being here. Immense her power, endless her acts, vast drive, astray is its significance and lost. She loses her way in her expressions of energy and form, movement. Although she carries in her secret breast the law and journeying curve of all things born, her knowledge partial seems, her purpose small. On a soil of yearning tread her sumptuous hours. There's always this yearning for something greater, even in her most sumptuous hours, in her highest movements, her highest expressions. There's always this underlying yearning there for something more. Shall we continue, Dana Lakshmi?
Yeah, I got the word sumptuous for the word. She was not feeling.
You got it?
The same sumptuous is here. She was using the Japanese correction.
Why is this sumptuous others?
I think it's just in her most wonderful and beautiful moments, what she's able to express. There is still an underlying yearning for something more. Okay.
The latent nescience weighs the wings of thought. Her power oppresses the being with its garbs. Her actions present its immortal gaze. A sense of limit haunts her masteries, and nowhere is assured content or peace. For all the depth and beauty of her work, a wisdom lacks that sets the spirit free. An old and faded charm had now her face, and palled for him her quick and curious lore. His wide soul asked a deeper joy than hers. Out of her daedal lines he sought escape, but neither gate of horn nor ivory he found, nor postern of spiritual sight. There was no issue from that dream-like space. Our being must move eternally through time. Death helps us not. Vain is the hope to cease. A secret will compels us to endure. Our life's repose is in the infinite. It cannot end. Its end is life supreme.
Thank you. So he's talking about our world in this section, because it's in our world where a leaden nescience weighs the wings of thought. So nescience, this absence of consciousness, the inconscient, is the basis of our world from which it has evolved. So that weighs on all the upward movements of the evolution, the wings of thought that strive to go up towards the higher spiritual realms are weighed down by this nescience, by this heaviness of the physical. And her power oppresses the being with its garbs. The physical, it's characterized by this movement of energy. Consciousness is lost in the movement of force, of energy. So that inertia of movement, always just going round in a circle, creating form, oppresses the being with its garbs, with its forms, its body, its expression through form. And her actions prison its immortal gaze. Also, it's full of this movement. Life is full of movement. But that also traps her vision. She cannot see beyond. A sense of limit haunts her masteries, and nor is assured content. or peace. She can't really find a fulfillment in contentment or rest or peace. There's always something pushing towards movement, towards new creation. For all the depth and beauty of her work, a wisdom lacks that sets the spirit free. And old and faded charm had now her face as he watches this life movement. It begins to look old to him, to look overly familiar, a faded charm, and palled for him. It loses its strength or effectiveness, or it covers. Another meaning of palls is to conceal or obscure, darken. And palled for him her quick and curious lore, her knowledge. His wide soul asked for a deeper joy than hers. Out of her Daedal lines he sought escape. Now, Daedalus was a god of art, but especially this complex, intricate kind of art. So Daedal means complex or intricate, skillful, artistic. So this kind of complex forms of art. So out of these complex artistic lines, he sought escape. But neither gate of horn nor ivory he found, nor postern of spiritual sight. Now, I don't know if anybody knows these references to horn or ivory of these gates. I'm not sure what that is.
The gate of horn, new place.
Probably refers to some myths, but I don't know.
What is postern?
A postern. Postern of spiritual sight. I don't know, like maybe I think of postern as a post, but maybe it...
Behind, I think, behind the gate, there's always a postern gate, that's the back gate.
Oh.
So I think this is all gate stuff here.
Oh.
They make these gates into palaces and everything out of ivory. So all of this, it still doesn't work. You go into this, whatever way you go into it, it's following on this needless thing. You still don't get anywhere.
Yeah.
Even if you've got this elaborate entrance that promises great things, nothing.
Mm-hmm. There was no issue from that dreamlike space. No way out, I guess. Our being must move eternally through time. Death helps us not. Vain is the hope to cease. A secret will compels us to endure. Our life's repose is in the infinite. It cannot end. Its end is life supreme. It's only this transformed life where we can finally find that settled peace. A peace that is coexistent, simultaneous with the movement of expression through the life.
Is the life divine?
Yes. That's the aim. It's only there that we can really find this fulfillment that this life is seeking. We can't escape. Sri Aurobindo also says somewhere that the soul can't really escape from this manifestation until it achieves a realization of the true self or the divine.
But it's not an achievement because it's already there.
It's
just a question of consciousness.
right.
So does it mean that moksha is not this thing? Like divine is the ultimate.
Right.
And moksha is the intermediary stage. Then the soul decides to come back to the life. This world.
But our metaphorical language is not adequate to express these things.
Yeah, it's hard to know unless one has that experience.
But see, behind it, you can feel it. That's the power of Savitri.
Yeah, he says pretty clear. I mean, this is the true solution, this life divine. Okay, Naren, you continue.
Death is a passage, not the goal of our walk. Some ancient deep impulsion labors on. Our souls are dragged as with a hidden leash, carried from birth to birth, from world to world. Our acts prolong after the body's fall. The old perpetual journey without pause. No silent peak is found where time can rest. This was a magic stream that reached no sea. However far he went, wherever turned, the wheel of works ran with him and outstripped. Always a farther task was left to do. A beat of action, a cry of search, forever grew in that unique world.
Unquiet.
Unquiet world. A busy murmur filled the heart of time. All was contrivance and unceasing stir. 100 ways to live were tried in vain. A sameness that assumed 1,000 forms, strove to escape from its long monotone, and made new things that soon were like the old. A curious decoration lured the eye, the novel values furbished ancient themes to cheat the mind with the idea of change. A different picture was still the same, appeared upon the cosmic vague background.
Thank you. In the first part of this passage, Sri Aurobindo kind of affirms the laws of karma, this perpetual cycle in which our actions kind of perpetuate themselves. The energy continues, the results of our actions continue even after death into the next life. So we're continually reborn. due to our actions. Carried, our souls are dragged as with a hidden leash, carried from birth to birth, from world to world. Our acts prolong after the bodies fall, the old perpetual journey without pause. Continuous wheel of karma in which we're as if caught, dragged. No silent peak is found where time can rest. This was a magic stream that reached no sea. It just keeps moving, flowing, round and round. However far he went, wherever turned, the wheel of works ran with him and outstripped. Always a farther task was left to do. A beat of action and a cry of search forever grew in that unquiet world. A busy murmur filled the heart of time. All was contrivance and unceasing stir.
What does it mean, no silent peak is found where time can rest?
Yeah, it just keeps moving, this wheel of karma, this cycle of action and consequences of those actions that require further action. And there's no place for rest. There's no place where it ceases. We're dragged from this world to the next world and then back. I mean, supposedly we do get some time of rest in the psychic world, but
And outstripped?
outstripped means ran ahead, went ahead of, went in front of. It ran quicker than the soul.
But past actions, like even if you die, actions will lead the actions further after the next birth. That's what it means. Your karma in this world or any world, they have to be done again. I mean, have to be lived again. Because of karma, you have to react to that karma. So it goes on. I mean, your debt is always there. You can't get out of that deficit.
So means outstripped him.
There was always more.
And outstripped him.
Outstrip the soul, it's ahead of you. The consequences are ahead of your actions. They're running faster than you are moving. But that's only in this world, this world of the greater life. And the other worlds are there too. So this is happening simultaneously with the other worlds of everlasting day, but we're also there. So don't worry.
Yeah, I think he's talking especially about us in our world here.
Until you get out of this cycle of rebirth.
I mean, he kind of is talking about both, because he says our souls. It seems that he's talking about us here on earth, but then he talks about however far he went, wherever he turned, but he's traveling through this other world. So I think it's both. These things apply to both. But then towards just the end of the passage, he just talks about how there is always this change going on, new activity, but it's always still kind of the same thing. It's just a new form of the same. A sameness that assumed 1,000 forms. strove to escape from its long monotone. It's always looking for something new, some change, rearrange our apartment or find a new line of work or do something to change the monotony of life. But then the new thing also, it's kind of like the old, and we soon get tired of that as well. A curious decoration lured the eye, and novel values furbished ancient themes. So we see this in society as well. We kind of keep going over the same political structures or the same values, but they never satisfy. They kind of just get refurbished in a new form.
Salvation is Polish.
Yeah, more or less redecorated or repolished. To cheat the mind with the idea of change. A different picture that was still the same appeared upon the cosmic vague background. So we'll continue. Sudhanya?
So she gives an outlet also out of this impressive art.
It's not depressing.
No.
Reality.
The same thing goes on and on and on.
Okay, we continue.
Only another labyrinthine house of creatures and their doings and events, a city of the traffic of bound souls, a market of creations and her wares was offered to the laboring mind and heart. A circuit ending where its first began, it dogged the forward and eternal march of progress on perfection's unknown road. Each final scheme leads to a sequel plan, yet every new departure seems the last. Inspired Evangel here is ultimate peak, proclaiming a panacea for all times ill, or carrying thoughts in its ultimate zenith flight and trumpeting supreme discovery. His brief idea, a structure perishable, publishes the immortality of its rule. It claims to be the perfect form of things, truth's last epitome, time's golden best.
Okay, thank you. each of these changes that takes place, these superficial changes that leave the core the same, turn out to be only another labyrinth house, another kind of maze of passages and ways to go, but it also kind of a trap in which it's very difficult to find one's way forward or way out.
How do you pronounce it?
Huh?
Pronounce?
Labyrinth?
Labyrinthine?
Labyrinthine? I don't know, maybe.
Labyrinthine?
Yeah.
It's the same as Dedal?
Huh?
It's the same as Dedal?
Same as Dedal?
Dedal.
No, not exactly, but similar in the sense that they're both intricate, but this is a maze in which you kind of, are trying to find your way out, but it's very difficult to do so. You turn this way and that way, but yet there's no real escape.
And what is the city of the traffic?
Yeah, so he's describing each new creation, which is more or less like the old. It always is just a kind of a trap in which it's a complex kind of movement in which we make our way, but we're not quite sure which way to go. It's just like a traffic of bound souls. It's just this movement of people going this way and that, trying to find their way, but they don't know the way. It's like a busy market, a market of creation and her wares. You go in a market, a crowded marketplace, and people are bumping into each other and trying to find this or that. And you also have difficulty finding your way through the market because when you go to the main market in Pondicherry, you get a little bit lost in there sometimes.
I understand the traffic of a city, the city of the traffic. Yeah.
A city of the traffic of bound souls. The souls, they can't escape because it's like just another labyrinth in which they're caught. And it's just this busy movement. But where is it moving to? They can't really find their way. They're just bumping into a wall and then they turn left. And then they bump into another wall and they turn right.
So now he's talking about the group of souls, like the community or the society.
Yeah, we're all...
You are lost, and now he's talking about different souls, they are together, like the
Yeah, I
society is trying
understand
to
the
find their
idea.
way.
I understand the idea. The traffic of bound souls and it's just the expression, city of. The traffic of a city, for me, it's okay. The city of traffic is good.
So again, it's a circuit ending where it first began, is dubbed the forward and eternal march of progress on perfection's unknown road. It's as if we keep going around in circles. We get one political leader substituted by the next, who ends up doing the same thing as the last one, and somehow things don't really go far. We go in circles. But especially these great philosophies also get new forms, but they're kind of the same basic idea. inspired evangel. Yeah, in the basic sense is bringing good news, but in Christianity, it's used for bringing the great news of the possibility of redemption or salvation through Christ.
Basically, you converting people. Evangelist means like to convert Hindus to Christianity or Muslims to Hindus and all these things. Evangelically, that's just what you say, all these religions are ultimately the same.
So that's the religious sense of the term, but it also has a kind of, it's taken on a broader sense of just bringing good news, bringing some news of some great thing. It could be Christ, but it could be anything. Theory's ultimate peak, also in the world of science. Some new discovery comes, and now we think we really understand. Evolution is the new gospel, and so we understand our creation. It's all come from the Big Bang, and so now we've understood. But then it ends up that there's another mystery kind of standing behind that that's undiscovered. Proclaiming a panacea, a cure for everything, a cure-all. For all times' ills, or carrying thought in its ultimate zenith flight, and trumpeting supreme discovery. But what are they actually? Each brief idea, a structure perishable, publishes the immortality of its rule. I love that. Publishes, because that's what they actually do, right? They publish it in their scientific journal or in their new book. It's claimed to be the perfect form of things, truth's last epitome, its embodiment or its quintessence, time's golden best. B?
But nothing has been achieved of infinite worth. A world made ever anew, never complete, piled always half attempts on lost attempts, and saw a fragment of the eternal whole. In the aimless, mounting total of things done, existence seemed a vain necessity's act, a wrestle of eternal opposites. In a clasped antagonism's close-locked embrace, a play without denouement or idea, a hunger march of lives without a goal, or written on a bare blackboard of space, a futile and recurring sum of souls, a hope that failed, a light that never shone, the labor of an unaccomplished force tied to its acts in a dim eternity. There is no end, or none can yet be seen. Although defeated, life must struggle on. Always she sees a crown she cannot grasp. Her eyes are fixed beyond her fallen state.
Thank you. So in this first line, Sri Aurobindo gives his verdict on all of this activity of life, but nothing has been achieved of infinite worth. So all she creates, this endless lines, these endless daedal lines of creation, this intricate artistry, this beauty, these expressions of force and power, there's always something lacking. Nothing has been achieved of infinite worth. A world made ever anew, never complete, piled always half attempts on lost attempts, and saw a fragment as the eternal whole. That's kind of the nature of mind also. To always cut up the whole into little pieces, into fragments, pile one on top of another in order to explain it all. But it's never complete. In the aimless mounting total of things done, existence seemed a vain necessity's act.
Vain necessity seems contradictory.
Well, in a way, yes, but in a way, no. I mean, it goes on by the force of karma, let's say, by its own law of existence, but it doesn't, in a sense, it's vain because it's unable to really fulfill itself. There's this wrestle of eternal opposites. We have spirit and matter, and these two are always wrestling here in this mid-world. The life is trying to express that eternal in time, in movement, which is a kind of a contradiction. A play without, I loved your pronunciation, denouement, or idea without resolution. A hunger march of lives without a goal. And then again, we get this futile and recurring sum of souls, like in this busy market. A hope that failed, a light that never shone, the labor of an unaccomplished force, tied to its acts in a dim eternity. Again, its actions, the very nature of this life is to act, but the actions also tie it down through karma, to continued action, to further action, further attempt, but never does it lead to release or success. There is no end, or none can yet be seen. Although defeated, life must struggle on. Always she sees a crown she cannot grasp, Her eyes are fixed beyond her fallen state. Somehow she sees beyond what she's able to accomplish. So she keeps striving to embody the divine or the absolute here. But she's unable to really do that in her present condition. Nitya would continue. Second line from the bottom.
Like quivers still within her breast and ours. They quiver still within her breast and ours, a glory that was once and is no more. Or they calls to us from some unfulfilled beyond, a greatness yet unreached by the halting world. In a memory behind our mortal sense, a dream persists of larger, happier air, breathing around free hearts of joy and love, forgotten by us, immortal in lost time. A ghost of bliss pursues her haunted pets, for she remembers still, though now so far, her realm of golden ease and glad desire, and the beauty and strength and happiness that were hers, in the sweetness of her glowing paradise, in a kingdom of immortal ecstasy, halfway between God's silence and the abyss.
Thank you. These lines seem to amplify the last couple of lines that we read in the last passage, which were always she sees a crown she cannot grasp, her eyes are fixed beyond her fallen state. So in some sense, this is why this life perpetually continues striving to fulfill its aims of embodying the divine here, although somehow she never is able to do it, and there's always this sense of failure following her. But here he explains further that there still quivers within her breast and ours a glory that was once and is no more. There is some memory within this life of where she has come from originally. She's fallen from a higher state. Ultimately, she's come from the divine and fallen into this in-between world, between the heavens and the abyss. But that memory haunts her, and she still strives to embody that higher state here. Or there calls to us from some unfulfilled beyond, a greatness yet unreached by the halting world. Or she's led forward by this sense that there is a higher state in which she has yet to reach, yet to fulfill and embody here. That she's only gone halfway towards that, and there's still a distance to go. Then he goes back to this memory. In a memory behind our mortal sense, a dream persists of a larger, happier air, breathing around free hearts of joy and love, forgotten by us, immortal in lost time. We're haunted by these dreams, or maybe we even have these dreams sometimes of some bliss or some touch of the divine. And then that stirs us to continue seeking, trying to realize it in our lives. We're haunted by this ghost of bliss, pursues her haunted depths, for she remembers still, though now so far, her realm of golden ease and glad desire, and the beauty and strength and happiness that were hers, in the sweetness of her glowing paradise, in her kingdom of immortal ecstasy, halfway between God's silence and the abyss. So even that kingdom of immortal ecstasy is between God's silence and the abyss. It's not the absolute silence, nor the abyss, but it's a heavenly state, a paradise of bliss.
Or maybe it just means that the location, it's immortal bliss, like a city, but its location is neither the abyss nor silence.
Right.
Maybe that's the end. Maybe it may also mean that it's the end. She's striving for.
Yeah, I guess supermind is also like that. If we look at Sri Aurobindo's symbol, it's sort of halfway between the peaks of Satchidananda and the abyss, this central square, this transformed life. I think we're going to stop there for today. We have some music.
of the light and chanting from verse to verse, from word to word.
Thanks to Sri Aurobindo.